All right, we're live, Sandy. Hi, everyone. It's Betty from Awaken Possibilities. We got Sandy back on our regular Friday at 11. And today we're talking about trusting yourself.
And we're going to have a lot of fun today. It's so important that we trust ourselves and keep building our inner foundation and going inward and strengthening our spiritual muscle or emotional muscle. So it's good.
Absolutely. And this is, and like we were saying, it builds beautifully on everything we've been doing the last few weeks.
Yes.
From, last week it was emotional intelligence, forgiveness,
self-esteem.
Yep. And then the programs, identifying your programs. Yes. And we were always talking a lot about that emotional healing and getting rid of all that junk that other people have layered on us. Because really most of it, 90% of it is from somebody else.
People's. That's what I wrote. Emotional healing is about trusting ourselves again and about our growth. It's a spiritual practice because if we want to increase our spiritual abilities, regardless if they're the clairs or the whatever, increasing your intuition, we have to do that through our emotions. So it's really important to clear that out. So trusting ourselves is really quite, it's amazing what you can, it is amazing what you can perceive and start sensing around you and people's intentions when you trust yourself.
Yes.
It's really important to know that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's been a really nice progression, actually.
Yes, it has.
It's been a really nice progression what we've been able to do. So why don't we dive into it? I know you wanted to start with some stuff, so I'm going to hand it over to you, Sandy.
Sure. So it's our inability to trust ourselves that we need to overcome. And things that I wrote out was getting you not to trust yourself was a strategy that people used in your past, and it was used to keep you from disclosing anybody's bad behavior. So in families, it would be considered like family secrets. Oh, this is, you don't disclose that. Nobody will believe you. It's, you know what? When you know your family is so screwed up, you can't tell people because it's so outrageous that they wouldn't believe you, but it's the truth. Anybody raise your hand? You have any of those experiences, or you live in a family like that they would, it's so screwed up, no one would believe you if you told them what was really going on. In business world, they called it do not disclose documents. Do not disclose documents at all. And so what happens with the do not disclose, here you may be, you sign the do not disclose, and then they make you do something that's illegal or immoral. It doesn't matter if it's with the waterways, it doesn't matter what it is, politics, military, and all of a sudden they've got you over the hook because you've agreed that you would get punished if you do disclose their behavior, their bad behavior. So that's what you don't want to, that's why you realize that other people's strategies, other people's programs, other people's patterning, other people's expectations of you is what created you not to trust yourself, because we're all born beautiful, absolutely adorable and innocent, and then one thing happens and one more thing happens. And if you are unfortunate to have a mother who's a sociopath who can't emit love, and there's many of those women out there, if you're unfortunate enough to have a father who's a sociopath or a psychopath who can't emit love, you have older siblings who are sociopaths, you come along, guess what you are called? Fodder. Yep. Not father, fodder.
I actually want to, it made me think of something, what you're talking about, and the non-disclosures. Just last weekend, was it? It was last weekend. There was a protest, the nurses protest because of their non-disclosure agreements that they signed, and they've had enough. And I actually have to say that goes into a lot of these, it had enough. And this is, I think, what happens to so many people. You just get to the point where this isn't working for me anymore. Because remember, this is a year in, and they're finally coming out and saying, okay, you know what? Enough of this madness.
And so they've covered this up. What else have they covered up?
Exactly.
So this is great that it's starting. People are starting to open up. And if enough people do it that's not a corporate world, but the government, whatever the government structure, if enough people do it, they can't go and give all of you fines or charge each of you for breaking your do not disclose document. So the safety in numbers.
Yes.
Right. And this is great for anyone who's looking to, even in your organization, you want to speak up. We're going to give you some techniques and some reasons why you should speak up, what the benefits of speaking up and learning to trust yourself are, because it's really important that you know why you're doing it, what is possible out there that's better than what you're doing now.
And I'm actually not sure that it's legal to have somebody sign a non-disclosure to illegal action. I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer. But I know that in other things that if, it's just like our charter, these laws they're making don't override the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, right? So if you're having somebody sign a non-disclosure to illegal activity, it's actually kind of null and void. I think you'd have to talk to a lawyer, but I
But
think
it doesn't matter if they're trying to get you to sign a
it's
non-disclosure that's illegal. What will they do to you if you don't sign it?
absolutely,
If they don't care, scruples
it's
come into it.
fear. That would actually create fear for them, that they would be, you're going to go after them, and
They probably will go after you. So you're not stupid. That could be your intuition and telling you to trust yourself that you're in a dangerous situation, right?
absolutely.
Yeah. I always find it interesting when you get the mental health people, and I know I've said this before, that say, fight, flight, and freeze. You don't need it anymore. There's no polar bears or tigers who are going to get you. Are they on crack? If they knew the psychological warfare that goes on in all aspects of life, they wouldn't be so naive to say something like that. My opinion, right?
Oh, we have worse than polar bears coming after us. We've got,
Psychopaths.
our psychopaths, our government, especially in the last year and in the last few weeks here in Ontario.
So how many people are signing do not disclose documents, but don't even realize that it's illegal to go and just pull somebody over and ask for their papers? If you have not given informed consent, you can't be jabbing somebody. If you're suggesting one of your relatives, we'll talk about this one later, you're suggesting one of your relatives should get the jab, and they're in a position that they're going to inherit if that person dies. Wake up. Like, are we really under the assumption that these people are so naive?
It's more than just informed consent too, because when you look at the regulations around clinical trials, and this is a massive clinical trial, absolutely none of those jabs are approved by any health agency because they have no data really to prove anything. It's actually illegal to coerce them. It's a coercion to take a drug that is to be in a clinical study is actually illegal too.
So this is funny, but most people, they're doing it because they don't know right from wrong, moral from not, law for unlawful. They don't understand. They just think, oh, I'm entitled to do this, whatever, because I'm an expert and this is my job. It doesn't matter what positions they have. If they're not aligned with their integrity and their morality, they don't know right from wrong. They don't know when their rights stop. They don't have a basic concept of what it means to be human. They're going to do whatever they want. So you have to trust that you're smarter than them. Yeah. And you know what's right for you. And you make the final decisions. We've talked about that on numerous occasions too, right? Yeah. But it's really important that we do that.
It does go to, because the push is so strong right now. And unless you have this real trust in yourself, it was very interesting. I was out yesterday, and this is, ended up talking about what the heck is going on here. And I'm doing my best to say, yeah, it's all BS. And, this one guy, he was like, no, I don't believe it. No, I don't believe it. No, I don't believe it. I'm like, you don't have to believe anything. I said, the truth is the truth. You don't have to believe the truth. You can continue to believe the lie. Your choice, not mine. I'm just giving you information.
And I don't even bother. We talked about that.
It was in a situation where it came up here.
So that's a position of denial, right?
Like I felt, and this is what I felt. He felt safe in his bubble of fear.
Yes. So
there was a safety in this. And to find out that everybody's been lying to actually cracks open something much deeper within this person. And
people don't like to be duped because they feel stupid. And the psychopaths know that. And the psychopaths get off on what's called duper's delight. They want to tell you a story and spin a yarn to see if they can suck you in. And when you get sucked in, they get off on it.
Oh, 100%. And
totally right.
It's funny because I sat there and I paid attention to it's a lack of trust in yourself because they're only listening with their ears to what they're hearing out in the media, but not really seeing behind it and trusting their gut. Because right at the beginning of this, you should have known early on that something was up.
And some people are so convincing in the way they tell their stories that they speak with so much passion that you believe them because they emotionally charge it, right? And when you speak that way, sometimes some people know what they're doing and some people don't. But so that fellow could go around telling other people, this is why you have to trust yourself to do what's right for you. Maybe that man needs to go and get the job. Maybe that's what he needs to do, right? And what's it matter anymore? Because so many people. It
doesn't matter to me. You know what? If anything, I'm just going to give you the information. This is actual science, factual, not the hysteria we hear in mainstream, and because that's all hysteria and bullshit. And I can give you facts, figures, and numbers. This is what I used to do for a living. Hello.
Yes, you can do that. Yes.
From day one, I was like, this is just the flu. I was looking at the numbers early on. I didn't even know what was going on. I kept getting asked because I don't watch the news. And I just trusted myself that it was like, this is nothing. This is nothing. And then it became something. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
No,
Agenda. I feel agenda here.
Yes.
But it's the work. It's the work you do. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Let's be real. It's a forever job to clean out your shit, your programs, your, because every once in a while something new pops up, the things that trigger you or whatever. And that's when you when you trust yourself, they come up quicker and easier to get rid of.
Yes. You start to see the patterns, because abuse has patterns to it.
Absolutely.
Psychopaths use patterns, sociopaths use patterns, narcissists, shame-based people, enablers, bystanders, they all use patterns, right? Because they need to control the outcome. I was going to say on Facebook this morning, somebody sent me a video of a woman calling funeral homes in Winnipeg. And she said, I'm just curious as to how many deaths. I'm not a reporter. I'm just curious. Are you experiencing more deaths than this last year? And they said, no, about the same as last year. Mm-hmm. So, right. So it's not, and she said, well, I'm concerned about all this COVID. The guy goes, you have every right to be concerned because we're not busier.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, Stats Canada shows you the same thing. When you look at total deaths year over year. Funny thing is a lot fewer cancer deaths and heart disease deaths.
Yeah.
That drastically reduced.
And we all know it's just a game, right?
It is a game. It's I don't know. But anyways, let's get off of that.
Let's get back to trusting.
Yes. At hand, because it's a really good. I like this because it's when you trust yourself, you're not buying into the crap anymore.
No, and what's good about this, when we talk about trusting yourself, even if you work with an organization that's asking you to do nefarious things or things you don't agree with, the more you trust yourself, the more people will look and say, what do you think? They'll be able to tell that you're not buying in. Or somebody asked me yesterday, I went and got water, and she goes, so Sandy, are you going to get the vaccination? And I looked at her and I said, that's such a personal question for people. I said, it's like asking somebody, how much money have you got? What's your net worth? I go, people don't want to answer that. I said, there's enough reasons to be concerned. So I haven't really decided. So I'm not even saying yes or no anymore. The reason why this one person, I told her about all the underground human trafficking. She goes, I don't believe that. She goes, watched your video. She goes, I don't believe that. I think it's happening in the home. So what's the point even? She can make up her own mind. She's a nice person, very nice person, right? I'm not dishing her. I'm just saying we all have to make up our own minds. But can we go back, when we're talking about getting you not to trust yourself as a strategy used by others to keep you from disclosing any of their inappropriate behavior. Family secrets, we talked about, do not disclose documents. It's also media. Media wants you to trust them, not trust yourself. So they can sell you the COVID, the NLP programming of whatever they want you to be concerned about. If it's COVID, if it's Black Lives Matter, if it's your privilege, if it's going to be climate change that's coming in now, whatever. So they want you not to trust yourself. That's why when you go to external sources, you're shortchanging yourself. And why they do this, like in the past, what I've commented on, they do this to keep you confused and self-guessing yourself, knowing well that by creating confusion in you, you'll likely make the person discredit themselves when they go and tell something that's going on. So you go to disclose something and then your language is jumbled, or your time frames are jumbled, or you didn't get one thing right. And now that discredits your whole story of whatever you're talking about, right? So it could be something as simple as how you're treated at the hospital or at a doctor's office or a professional's office. So you start second guessing yourself. And as soon as you go in and think, I second guessed myself when I was younger, you're going to do it again until you clear that out, because that will be your pattern. And then self-sabotage, right, is grows into your future. So you take that self-sabotaging pattern of not trusting yourself or second guessing yourself, and you carry it into the future with you. And normally I find, depending on where you were duped, if you're duped in a personal, like in personal relationships, you're going to get duped in personal relationships. You might be very strong at work and not strong in your personal life. Or vice versa. If it happened at work, you might have a problem at work that you've been duped and you know you're being set up, or you're being targeted, or somebody wants your job or doesn't want you to get promoted, but you don't understand the patterns of how this works. But sometimes when you trust yourself, you can start to see these patterns up front and nip it right in the butt, right? So So this is why, as we were talking earlier, why we talk about self-esteem, why we talk about boundaries, we talk about self-love, we talk about people pleasing. We haven't gone into some of these yet. We do this because these are all patterns that we have adopted at different times. When I say we, it doesn't matter if it's an individual, collective, if you've worked through it or you want to work through it. But this is where all these patterns start to come in, because when you don't doubt yourself, you need confirmation from the outside that you're all right. And as soon as you need confirmation from somebody else,
Yes,
they've
okay,
got you
sorry.
if they want you.
I thought you said when you trust yourself, you look for confirmation, but I think
Did I say it wrong? No,
I think you did. I'm not sure.
You
I might
don't
have heard it
trust
wrong, but I
yourself.
was like, wait a second, no, I don't need
Good, good, good,
confirmation
good.
from anybody else. I'm good.
I saw the look in your face, so I wasn't sure what was going on there. So when you don't trust yourself, you look for
When you
confirmation
don't,
from
yeah.
outside. Yeah, when
I
you
may have
don't.
missed
Somebody
the
said that
don't.
wrong. Thank you for
I may
catching
have
that.
missed the don't, so it could have been my ears.
Either way, it's good. We've got it clarified now, right? So that's what matters. But this is how we got into such a dysfunctional society. You don't trust yourself, you trust your doctors. You don't trust yourself, you trust the next professional. You don't trust yourself, you trust a lawyer. How many people have been duped by an unscrupulous lawyer?
Yeah.
But they're the experts. It doesn't matter if it's in finance or what field it's in, if it's in personal relationships. I was talking to somebody recently, and they said their son was dating somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And they really started liking each other. He said about 3 months in, she wanted to get pregnant, and he realized she didn't want him to wear a condom, and like you just start to. But they'll wait until they think they've got you if they're unscrupulous.
Right.
And then one more thing. Oh, just wait. One more thing.
It's only.
Yes, right. And all those things are statements that get you not to trust yourself, and that's
Yes.
what we don't want to do, right? So
And they play. I actually want to say they play on the programs that we have.
totally, what they call your insecurities.
Yeah, and it plays on because most of us have a lot of the same ones, but because it's societal, especially North America. We have most people have very similar programs. We'll have different ones, of course, and things that are maybe within your family or your culture,
Right.
but societal ones are pretty similar.
Because they're all piped through the TV.
Exactly.
So you do get the programs, the news programs, the expectation of what others want you to believe all comes through the idiot boxes, the radios.
Yeah, and that's why that last program when we talked about programming is so important, because that programming cuts you off from yourself.
Totally. And if that's the case, then you can't trust yourself.
Yeah, and because it's not following within the norms that were created by society, your family, your church, your school, whatever. Right. It's from everywhere. I mean, it's falling from the sky. These norms.
But now that we're seeing it for what it is, people are waking up and starting to take more of their own lead. Yes. And we're not, like, you go to those rallies, nobody's hurting anybody at those rallies, the freedom rallies. Everybody's getting along.
Yes.
Right? So then you start and realize, why do we need so much government? Why do we need so much supervision in a dysfunctional society? Somebody told me yesterday that all these planes coming in from India, he works out of town, so he has to stay at a hotel or motel. And he says, all the rooms here are filled with people who've come in from India. And he goes, what they're saying is they were promised government jobs. So there, we think, why are they letting all these planes in? That doesn't make any sense. If it doesn't make sense, keep asking questions, because there's more going on there than you'll ever know. But he said that's what they've been told. They've been promised these government jobs. Well, wait a minute. One, what about the people here? Two, who's paying for these jobs? Because if people aren't working and businesses are closed and businesses are shut down, their tax revenue's down.
Yeah.
Like, it's just all a facade.
It is.
Right?
It's smoke and mirrors. It's all smoke and mirrors. I actually, well, Sandy knows, but you guys don't know, but I've been playing with my tarot and it makes me think of the moon card. It's like, it's all smoke and mirrors, and it's an illusion.
Everything is an illusion.
Everything is an illusion.
There's an advertisement where a girl is sneaking out her bedroom window and the father opens the door. Mm-hmm. And then it shows somebody either playing a piano or dancing beside. And it's just because catches your eye doesn't mean it's real. So basically, she's sneaking out the window. Oh, look, squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. Do you know what I mean? So we get distracted so easily when they tell us where we're supposed to look.
Right.
So whenever somebody tells me to look here, I turn around, because totally the opposite. It's always behind you. They don't want to see what's behind you, because if you're looking this way, you might catch on to what it is they don't want you to see.
Yes. And I know, before we go too far, because I want to make sure I can't see, we're 20 minutes in, And we do have a couple people on. If anybody has any questions, please dive in. Comments, questions are always welcome.
For sure.
And
For sure.
we actually hope to see some come up here. But I know you had a message today, Sandy. So I want to, before, at the end, I want to actually talk about how we can start to learn to trust ourselves, the things to do. But I know you had a specific thing you wanted to talk about. So I want to go there.
Okay, let me just heal through this, okay?
Sure.
Or just do one more. So I want to talk about the act of hurting children. When we learn to trust ourselves, we understand when other people have bad intentions. I really want us to understand the scope of the intentions that people have if they're offside. So hurting a child is the most heinous thing you can do.
Yes, it is.
If it's the most heinous, how heinous is the behavior you will go to cover it up? So you have to understand, this is the framework of a psychopath or a sociopath. We have to understand they're everywhere. It's not that they're not everywhere. But what I want people to understand is how important it is to understand the intent, because they want to kill you. And you think, how could that be? It's not about you. It's about their intention, their jealousy, their intensity of what they think you have that they want. That's what this is all about, a lot of this. So when we start to understand why you got knocked off the rails, I'm famous for telling my clients, you didn't get messed up all by yourself. So we're going to help you unmesh yourself for a while until you can fly on your own again. So basically what you want to do, the goal of learning to trust yourself, is so that you can fly again. And sometimes you will find, even though you're flying, you might limit people around you. And this is what I did. I knew somebody once whose best friend was having all kinds of problems with relationships. So he had a girlfriend, and then this other girl's trying to sneak into bed with him, and like they'd had a party one night, and I'm sitting here going, what the hell is going on? So I'm getting yellow and red lights everywhere. So I'm on guard when I'm around this group of people, right? And I sat down at the cottage one day and I thought, who's the common denominator? And I went through all the people that he knew that knew both these women. There's two of them, then there was his girlfriend. And I went, oh my God, it's his sister. I knew right then she's a psychopath. She's trying to destroy his relationship with his girlfriend because she doesn't want him happy. And as soon as I did that, boom, I can spot psychopaths, not from, I can't tell if somebody's smiling to me if they're a psychopath, but when you start looking at the behaviors or the stories of what's going on around them, then you can start putting it together. They are the common denominator. They will have a foot in everybody's relationship. That will be the common denominator. So they're cowards. They never come at you right up front, or rarely do. They will get somebody else, put somebody else in play to come at you. So then you sit here and go, why would that person do that? And you realize that person knows this person. Well, why would this person do that? That person knows this person. So if you're in a situation
and, we're having some internet issues here, but it's a lot of insecurity and control issues.
Totally.
It's that whole, I'm going to be honest, this actually comes to me as like, feeling that person feels less than, and this is how they raise themselves
you
above
down to elevate themselves.
Because they already feel so low. And
this is a societal problem, very common. So there's more people with low self-esteem out there. Mm-hmm. But the low self-esteem can show itself in two ways. Maybe it shows itself in a way that you have to hurt others to get ahead, right, or that you don't trust yourself enough so that others keep crapping on you. But it might not be the same people. It might be a pattern that you attract to you because you haven't cleaned that energy out of your body yet.
Yes.
So often it's not just like some people say, oh, I choose the same kind of partner over and over again. It's not a thought process. It's not always just an emotion. Sometimes it's hardwired into your body energetically. So if you were raised with sociopaths and psychopaths, chances are you're going to choose a sociopath or a psychopath for a partner. Yes, male or female is irrelevant.
And the key there, because I mean, to be honest, I actually went through that after my divorce, and then I started, you start dating, and I saw a pattern, and I went, whoa. Okay, problem is me. Why am I attracting this? Why am I attracting this kind of behavior, this, not being treated the way I think I deserve to? And that was actually a tipping point for me. And it was because I got angry, and I got angry with myself, and I went, no. We have to drop new boundaries for me and what I actually deserve, because I believe I deserve. All of a sudden I realized I had to consciously realize what I deserved in life. And it was
And you
much
don't have
more
to.
than I was getting.
Oh, totally. But you set your standard higher, but you've been used
Yes.
to conforming and giving everything to everybody else normally, that's the pattern that you're drawing to you, somebody who will give more than you receive necessarily.
Yes. And
So when you say
it was
that,
really powerful. I mean, I got really angry actually. And
so you can get angry, but you don't have to get angry. And there's nothing wrong with getting angry, because being angry helps you set a boundary sometime, even if the boundary's with yourself.
absolutely. Well, I may be a water sign, but there's a lot of fire inside this belly. So I get angry. I just like, ah. And then I can piece it all, because that's actually kind of like letting go when you do the whole, ah. And then I can calm down and go, okay, so what do I want? Where do we go from here? Seems to be my process.
And it's a great process, because what you're doing is you're looking for a positive. So you're seeing what doesn't work. You're acknowledging it from the observer position. That, what am I doing? This doesn't work for me. You're observing what you're attracting to you. You're going, putting on the brakes or the eraser and saying, no, this is what I envisioned. This is what I want. And you've just set your bar higher of what you expect in life and what you'll accept.
And the other thing is that I think that really is helpful in my process, and it is mine, because this is just how I function, is it brings a lot of emotion to the situation that is really important for the manifesting.
Totally. And we should do a whole show on that too.
The emotions that you put into manifesting, because that anger is actually what spurs on this is what I want. And I bring all and then you can actually see it, because it's like, no, this is it. This is it. And you bring all this stuff, because with a heightened emotion, you get better results with manifestation.
And sometimes we have to watch when we do that from anger. So it's not always great.
The
so
anger is the first part of
right.
acknowledging an old pattern or a program that's not working anymore for me. And then you can actually concentrate, but instead of it being anger, you put it into a passion for what you want.
Yes.
It's
and that's
flipping the script.
That's the right way to do that, right? So it's the same as if you're having negative thoughts, catch yourself. And there's nothing wrong with negative thoughts. I don't believe the negative thoughts are bad. That's just my personal opinion, right? But if you're catching yourself in a negative thought loop or negative pattern, stop. I choose to be in whatever it is, and focus on that again, and then choose again. And then if you need to, if you keep going back to the old pattern, I'm not doing this today. I don't want to do this today. I want to be happy today. Yesterday, I had a great day. Started out, a few things came to light, and I'm like, those little, wrote some things out, and I said, okay, I'm done. I'm going to be happy today. And I had a great day.
Yep.
Right? So this is how we do it.
You can change everything. I mean, your emotions are not, who controls your emotions? Do your emotions control you, or do you control your emotions? And sometimes it's just acknowledging that you're feeling something, and then you have to go dig why. I'm big on dig your why. Why do I feel this way? What's going on in the background? What's happening around me?
Is this mine?
Yeah.
Those kind of questions, right?
Yeah. And it's okay to feel like crap. And the other day I was having a rough day, and just a little off. The energies I can feel like the energies are so wacko right now. They're definitely affecting me, and
that's when you send them back. And it's funny that we go through different periods. And I think Jupiter just went into retrograde like a week ago.
Mm-hmm.
So Jupiter's the happy-go-lucky planet, the Buddha. Everything's good. So unless you've got Jupiter in retrograde, you're not happy right now. And it's going to stay in retrograde, I think, until September.
Yeah.
We're in for a bumpy summer. So I have Jupiter in retrograde. I had a great week.
So do I, if I remember correctly.
Yes, you do, right? So negative things have happened, but we're also watching the old fall away. That's why you have to watch when you're being set up by people. Yes. And when you start to realize patterns, you can't unrealize them, and something's wrong. And then you start understanding all the roles people play in these scenarios.
Right.
And you can get yourself out of it.
Yes. And that's the key to learning how to trust yourself. Because I think we're going down like what we talked about last week, but it's so important, because all of these things, it's the emotional intelligence to actually identify these things. It's the, and really going within and really when things aren't working the way you want and you're not happy with how your life is going, that's the time to say, stop. and stop everything and turn off the TV, turn off YouTube, turn off all of the stimulus and go within and start to figure out what's really going on.
Right.
What is it? And then when you acknowledge things, you can let them go. And that's when you start to trust yourself. When these things bubble up, and trust that, yes, this is the program. I remember these things that kind of followed in that program. I can let it go. It's that trusting your inner knowing. But the only way to get there is to go within and be quiet without these distractions.
And sometimes it's not you. You have to understand that sometimes there's a force outside of you. If they're jealous of you, they are going to shape every one of your relationships because they're going to make sure they stay really close in your life. But it won't be them who seems to sabotage you. It'll always be somebody else that they put in play. So I want to talk a bit about this. So you look at your internal stuff to know who you are, what you want, that you can trust yourself. If something keeps coming up and say, why does this keep happening in this situation? Again, you look to see who's around you, who's the common denominator. And it's probably often your family, somebody in your family that you have to be aware of, that they're interfering with your relationships.
Yeah, definitely always somebody close to you.
Yes. And I'm not saying don't go inside, but ask yourself that question. Is it me who's really such an awful person? And maybe if it's a family member, if it's family, there could be more than one. It could be 2 sisters or 3 sisters or whoever, it doesn't matter. You don't know who it is. So I want to switch.
It's funny that you go with all female, but the boys can be just as bad.
I'm not
manipulative usually, but
I'm not saying that they're not doing it. It doesn't matter who it is, if it's males or females. No, but females tend to be very they're the passive aggressive. That's a female trait. You can see passive aggressiveness in male politicians who lie and can't speak honestly. That's their feminine energy, if that makes sense. So the negative feminine energy. I'm losing you there, Betty.
Rose in. Wait a second to come back. There.
Okay, there you go. So can we go back to trusting? So why trusting yourself is so important? We have a love crisis happening right now. People don't know how to love. They don't know what love is. They don't know what it feels like. They don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to love others. I've seen people go into a relationship and they go into a relationship in a position of, I don't want to be hurt again. So they find somebody who doesn't want to be hurt again. Well, that's not a foundation for a relationship, because as soon as one person does something the other one doesn't like, they're going to say, you hurt me. You come in for a position of, I want personal growth. I want to be the best person I can. I want to experience a loving relationship with somebody who also wants the best for themselves and me. And you really set that bar, because what is happening when people don't trust themselves, they go into a relationship and then right off the bat, it's push and pull, because they don't know how far to go, when to pull back. They can't just let it flow. Yep. So there's all kinds of reasons why to trust yourself, because you need to trust yourself to trust another.
100%. It's just like you have to love yourself before you can love another.
Right?
It's the same sort of thing. And the other thing is when you learn to trust yourself, you also will be able to trust the signals to know if this is the person to be in a relationship with.
Yes.
So that push-pull doesn't happen. You attract the same vibration that you are. Totally. So when we are able to trust ourselves and raise our vibration, then we can actually attract somebody at that level.
Yes. I hear you on that one.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you're cracking up a bit there. So why should you trust yourself? I just made a short list here. This was in my book, but I just made a short list of what are the benefits of trusting yourself. And if there's people on, if you want to add your own benefits of what you know why you should trust yourself, adults learn differently. So you can learn to trust yourself now. And yes, children have a certain intuition, but when we know that we've got the ability to consciously be aware, be in our observer position, do is just what Betty was saying, observe what's not working. Why isn't it working? Change your language. Look for something different. You might decide to work with some form of a practitioner, energy worker to try to clear what that thing is. But sooner or later, once you've got that cleared out of your system, then that puts you in a position to even trust yourself even more. Yep. And you build it up as a process, right? So trust that you've got what it takes now. And I'm going to make a comment. So when I talk about loving yourself for people that I work with, their clients, often what I find, if they're not used to going in, they don't think they're worthy of love. Mm-hmm. You know what they do? They talk my ear off. I'll ask them a question, they change the subject, and they talk. And I always say, well, that's really a funny story, and you bring it back. but it hurts. It's scary sometimes to go inside and learn to trust yourself if you don't trust yourself. Because where do you start? It's going to start as a feeling when you have an aha.
Well, I actually want to say one of the things that's really important there to learn, learning to love yourself. It's something you've actually said many times but a good practice is to start like every day, think of one thing that you really like about yourself.
Yes.
What do I really like? What is good about me? What do I like? Instead of focusing on the negative that you want to change, look at the positive and who you really are. Like, yeah, you know what? I'm really generous with my time, or I love with an open heart. I don't know, whatever.
Whatever it is, right? It's interesting.
I have really good hair today. I don't know.
It doesn't matter what it is.
It can start small.
I'm connected today. It doesn't matter, right? You just know when you're in the zone. It doesn't have to be anything life-changing, right?
No,
it's interesting. I was working
of starting to recognize your positive traits.
Yes. Right. And start looking for what's right for you instead of what's wrong. Everybody looks for what's wrong in other people in relationships. Well, you keep looking for it, you're going to find something sooner or later. So look for what's right. And change the energy, invert the energy. I was working with somebody this week and I was doing it like surrogate energy. It was a husband and wife. And so I wanted to go in and read him, but he trusted her implicitly. So I had her touch his arm, whatever, right? So then I hook into her and we were going through some things and we cleared out everything. And basically I was right on the money for all the things that I commented, what I found in his body and that. And then I said, I want a homework assignment because he's very good to other people, but he doesn't give himself enough credit. Mm-hmm. So I said, his homework assignment is he's to tell you 3 amazing things about him that you don't know. And then that builds the intimacy up too, right? Yeah. So it gives him a chance to say, I'm really good at this. She could list all kinds of things. She's a beautiful woman, right? But the idea was that he wasn't used to verbalizing or tooting his own horn. And then, you take crap from people and it wears you down. But let's build yourself back up. Trust yourself that what you know about yourself is going to be amazing.
Yes.
Very positive, right?
How many times have I said, we are all amazing?
Totally.
We have been
lied to, cheated on, pushed down, suppressed, everything.
Suppressed, made to feel worthless, that our opinion isn't worthy. All of these things from the time we were children to diminish your truth of who you are. And we're all beautiful inside. And that's what we're talking about. Trust comes when you actually start to realize the beauty of you.
And we're not necessarily all beautiful inside, but we're starting to see who is and who isn't, and own your shit, people.
Well, I think anybody who's watching this and actually listening to it from coming into it from a heartfelt position,
totally.
They get it, and these are the souls that we need to build those trust muscles.
But not everybody's decent. And I want to make sure that we don't give that impression that, we're all beautiful souls. We're not. Some people choose not to be. Yes. The idea is when you trust yourself, you will know who those people are if they're trying to weasel their way into your life. Yes. Doesn't matter if it's personal relationships. I know women have told me that men wined and dined them and flew them to Paris for the weekend and is always driving around in a limousine. Then the darker side of his personality started showing. But he got her hooked first to a beautiful lifestyle. Mm-hmm. So you don't know, but the idea is that you, even when you do love someone else, that you trust yourself and love yourself first, that you don't give your whole soul up to that person, right? So Absolutely. another reason for learning to trust yourself, are you tired of your relationships turning out the way they do? So we kind of touched on that earlier. But if you are, then trust yourself that you deserve better. Trust yourself that you are an amazing person. Even if you say, but I've done this, we can clear that. It's just a program, or maybe it is something you've done that you're ashamed of and you still need to clear it.
Yep.
So it's not a problem. You want to feel incredible.
On that point, I actually want to say we've all made stupid mistakes in our lives.
Yes.
It's what you do with that.
Or somebody shamed you with it. You made a mistake and somebody just never lets you live it down.
Yeah. But that's the past, and we don't live in the past. We live in the present. So are you going to make those same choices? This is where that trust is like, but that's not who I am. And we are supposed to we're a completely different person every 7 years from like every single cell. So why is that? That does not need to be part of us anymore.
No, it's just stuck in your energy field, right?
Yeah. So, and that's what we need to clear. And if you can't clear it, then you find somebody who can help you clear this stuff. Because it's critically important. Actually, this is one of the things on the last point before we went on, I had something and then I lost it, and then now it's back. And why it's so important to trust ourselves, and to at this point in time, especially all of the pressure right now. It's a pressure cooker right now to get the job. And those who are not trusting themselves, even though they may have said, I will never get it, are getting it because of pressure.
Yes.
And it's because they don't trust themselves. And when you trust yourself, you can stand firm and say, you know what, that might be good for you. It's not good for me. And I'm not going to be, wheeled into it.
Yes. Right.
And that's why I think it's really critically important today for us to start to learn how to stand in that power, because trusting yourself is standing in your power.
It is. And even I trust myself, and people ask me what I'm going to do, I just say, that's such a personal question, because somebody asked me a question. When's the last time you had sex, Sandy? I don't have the answer. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean anything. It just means it's none of your business. Do you know what I mean?
Why is this important?
Example. Why is this important to you? And one, it's none of your business. Why is whether I get the job important to you or not? So I know who's getting it and who isn't. And I'm concerned about the shedding. That's a lot of people are talking about the shedding. So maybe I'm going to be the one who says, I'm not going to be around you until I see how this is going to turn out, right? So it's not personal. So we all have to make our decisions for ourselves that are right for us. So another reason to trust yourself is because you want to feel incredible about yourself and others. We really need to put this upbeat energy, bring upbeat energy on. And I want to talk a bit about hormones, the feel-good hormones. Another reason why you should trust yourself, you deserve to be happy. Isn't that an amazing reason to trust yourself? Yes. No other reason than that. Another reason, so you can enjoy personal, intimate relationships, because they are meant to be fun. And when all this ends, this chaos, as it ends, people are going to be shuffling in relationships, leaving relationships, starting new relationships. It's almost like you get it's almost like they're putting more fish in the pond kind of thing. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's a good metaphor or not, but you're getting more choice. So now you want to be in relationship. We want to get love right, but we want to do it from a position of understanding and growth and positivity, instead of saying, okay, who's going to pay the bills? How much money have we got? Like that kind of petty stuff, right?
Yep.
So those were just some of the reasons I thought that, and if anybody wants to add any more, by all means. So I picked up this magazine yesterday, How to Hack the Happiness Hormones. What is this called? Women's Voice. I got it from a health food store. And they're talking about how to hack your happiness hormones. So they're talking about dopamine. And if you want to increase your dopamine level, create a checklist so that you feel good about yourself because you're getting things done. Trust that you will get to it. Trust that you will do one thing every day off your checklist. And yes, you can put things on your checklist and then cross it off after you did it if you didn't plan on doing it, because that's also just what took you to the next line. Dive into organizing a junk drawer. Clean out one thing of clutter. It doesn't matter if it's a secretary, I have a junk drawer in every room. So, but I clean out my junk drawer. I know what's in it. It just has no place where it would go on its own. So I just put certain things in it, right?
So basically it's talking about creating small wins every day to make you feel good.
Yes. Right. And that helps you as well. Trust yourself, because you realize you can get these things done, especially if you're finding you're overwhelmed with what's going on with this nightmare shit show right now. Yeah. If you can't get started, do one thing and then you'll feel good about yourself. And then, I can do this the next day. Do one thing. It says set monthly or daily goals. I'm not great at that myself. So maybe, but I get 4 out of 5. So I'm doing okay. Schedule a massage. That touch feels so good, especially on your back. Even though it might not be designed to release your nervous system, it's still releasing any tension that is caught in your nervous system. Eat healthy and nutritious food is what they're saying.
And we're right now in a place, many people are deprived of touch because of what's going on.
Yes.
And that is so important for your happiness.
Totally.
We are a social animal and we need contact.
We need contact.
Physical touch. We need to be around people. As great as these virtual things are, you still need to feel like somebody is, right there.
And if you have to, hug yourself.
Hug yourself, yes.
It's not the same, but it's still better than nothing.
Yep.
You get a chance to be around pets. Like I always walk out where I walk. A lot of people let their dogs off the leash, and some of them come up to me. I always have bird food in my pocket. I keep saying to them, it's not dog food, it's bird food, but whatever the smell, if there's peanuts or whatever in there, I don't know. But, you know, and you just, whatever it is that you do. But especially if you're finding you're short on people or the people you're around are afraid, still get together, but you still hug them hello and hug them goodbye.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? That was such a big one. Endorphins was the next one, because it's a natural painkiller. And what it talks about is laughter is the best medicine. Watch a funny movie. And it kind of contradicts because I say don't watch the TV, but watch a funny movie. But just be consciously aware of any subliminal, you know, scenes or whatever is being put in there, or symbols they're put in there. Use essential oils in the bath to relax or unwind. I use essential oils every day, and the one combination I really like right now is cinnamon, lime, patchouli, cypress, rosemary, orange, and ylang ylang, and it's got just such a tang, I'm going to say tang of a smell, like it just catches you, and it's upbeat. Mm-hmm. So it's like putting citrus fresh or lemon in your diffuser, right? And then I put a carrier oil on it, and I just lovingly apply. I love you, I love you, I love you, right? And it just feels good, and you smell good. I've had people walk past me at the dog park and go, "You smell good." I'm like, really? And then I realize it's my combination of oils that I put on. Enjoy dark chocolate, which is also a great source of magnesium for relaxing muscles and reducing stress. And then exercise. Now they're talking about aerobic exercise. Sometimes just going for a vigorous walk. So there's different places that I walk. Some are flat. Some have moderate hills. Some, when you're done 45 minutes later, it feels good. You know what I mean? Like there's one place I walk where I have to hang on to trees going down the one slope just so I don't get too much momentum. So that helps. And another hormone is serotonin, which boosts your mood and encourages social contact and ability to have fun. If you're going through crap right now and you're doing your best to stay up, it's okay to take what's this called?
5-HTP.
Yeah, 5-HTP. It's a happiness hormone. So I just picked up some yesterday, and it says take 1 to 2 tablets 3 times a day. I took 1 tablet. That's all I took, and I could feel a difference. So it doesn't mean you need a lot, but sometimes when you're going through something that's really, I'm going to say horrific and awful,
yep,
and it's sabotaging or it's betrayals involved or backstabbing, all of this nonsense, sometimes you just need to level that out. But I never finished. I've got so many supplement bottles. Like you take them, maybe you need them for a week, and you put them in the cupboard, right? Until you need them again. So choose passive thoughts. Focus on everything you're grateful for. That's another great one, the gratitude bubble. Create a quiet space to meditate. Just take 5 minutes out. I always do my oracle readings in the morning, and quite often the cards say, "Take a break, Sandy," because I'm pretty intense, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been getting that a lot lately too, actually. But hey, I feel like
it's what we're in right now.
It's what we're in, right? And I think that's what it is. It's like, okay, we're still in this.
Yes.
Sit back and relax. Don't let it get to you.
Don't let it get you. If you notice it's getting to you, then reach out to somebody who's trusted.
Yep.
By you. So I had a friend like last week tell me, she goes, she sent me something. "I'm so upset. I haven't got back to you. Everything's just a crap show." And my appointment I canceled that night. So I said, "Do you want to do a Zoom call?" She goes, "I'm not good company." And I said, "I'm excellent company today. Come on over." And she was here from 7 till midnight. Yeah. And just needed a change of scenery. Yeah. And it doesn't mean this happens all the time, but you be there when you can for somebody else.
And these are tough times. Like these aren't really tough times. These are really tough times. So I think it amplifies so many of these issues, right? Because we are so cut off. You
can't think straight when you're anxious.
Yeah.
So I'll give an example. When I was financial planning, I would do plans for clients. They were emotionally invested. I had no problem doing the plan because I wasn't emotionally invested. I could logically look at all the different aspects of whatever the situation was, be able to break it apart, look at them all, put it back together and say, ta-da, right? So that one time I was looking to buy another advisor's book of business. So I was looking to buy his clients. They told me what the price was. I was beside myself trying to figure this out. Should I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I, shouldn't I? And I thought, wait a minute. Do what you do for everybody else. This is not your book. This is not your situation. Look at the numbers. 10 minutes later, I go, this is a no-brainer. Of course I'm going to buy it. do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Stand back and have a look at it, always as the observer, and you'll get more clarity, right? So I'm just
100%. I actually had something similar, but it was no. The answer was no, I didn't need that. And then guess what? I found what I actually needed as soon as I made that decision within like minutes.
And
Within
that's why you
minutes,
trust
the right
yourself,
thing came to me because it was like, okay, yeah, you know what? I want to do this. And it's like, so is this the way I want to go? And I wasn't sure. It wasn't feeling 100%. And then I went, you know what? Trust that feeling. No, if it's right later, maybe it'll be right later, but I put it away. Literally minutes later, the right thing popped up because I knew I needed it, but it was just not the right thing that I was looking at.
Same as dosing. It's the questions you ask. Is this the right thing for me? Is this the right thing for me now? Will it be a right thing for me in a week? Will I decide and ask again in a week? So you ask the question. So great example. But what I like about what you're saying, that is how we're all supposed to be, how we process the world as it comes to us. We all have choices. You don't jump on everything that comes your way. Maybe there's a reason why something isn't happening right now, but trust the right thing will come for you, right? That's the idea. I'm just gonna go through a few of these. Cycling, swimming, running, walk in nature. As you said, the 5 HTP. Oxytocin, play with a pet, massage, hold hands or cuddle with your loved ones. Give someone a compliment. You can be very, oxytocin's created too when you give somebody a compliment, when it's genuine.
Yep.
I'm not saying fake it to find something to say about somebody that's nice, but if you know something is genuinely good about somebody and they're having trouble with something, just say, hey, I know you. You're going to get through this. And if you're not, you're going to wait until the right time and figure out what to do. I know you. Yep. You are great at solving problems.
I actually am very fortunate because I actually have a friend who has a baby. Oh my God, nothing makes you happier than a baby smiling and grabbing at you and just wants to like cuddle. And I was like, oh, it's the best thing. It is the best thing. I try to
see next to Pippa.
Next to Pippa. Next to Pippa. But it's like just this little angel because she's just this little angel. I tell her, like, I'm trying to find your wings. I'm trying to find your wings. She laughs.
And you're fortunate that the mother will let you near her child.
Yes, well, thankfully the mother is actually open-minded and
grounded and has
grounded and knows that this is what's going on. And
yes. So you know what? We're looking at what time is it? It's 5 to 12. You know what? I want to talk about. So what got me thinking about what I was talking about other people is with all the chaos. Abuse loves chaos. Hey, Karen. How are you doing? Abuse loves chaos. And what's happening right now, people are saying things to me and I'm noticing different people making strange comments to us. Mm-hmm. And what's happening, there's still, as we're coming out of 3D and going into a higher dimension, there's still greedy bastards out here who will take advantage of the chaos. And what's happening is I'm finding that people are trying to switch powers of attorney and switch executors on wills because they're spending time with the person who has the money. If this makes sense. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know, we'll have too much time to go into this today, or maybe I'll just do a video on this one on my own. I don't know, but I really want people to be aware, to trust yourself. So if somebody says something that's out of sorts, trust that there's somebody playing them. It doesn't mean it's maybe a family member or a friend, or if somebody all of a sudden is saying, oh, so-and-so's helping me all the time. Are you talking about money with them? You need to start asking some questions to find out what that person's saying, because this is too much to go into today, but at one point you get into triangulation and you know that person's going to put a wedge between the person who truly wants to help them,
right,
and that person. They're going to try to put a wedge between you, right?
Hey,
thank you, Karen. So it's interesting. Don't trust everybody. So trust yourself, because not everybody has great intentions. And again, I'm not going to go into this fully because we're running out of time. But can you imagine saying to every sociopath out there who's about to go and rip off your parents' estate or your grandparents' estate right now so you get control, so you can control the money? Speak up now. Show us your hand. Because most sociopaths or nefarious people, they're so unscrupulous, they wouldn't dare tell you up front what they're going to do. They have to sneak in and get it done. So this is where we really have to start watching, because of all the abuses that are happening right now, that we don't let these little get away with it.
Yes. And, and this is where, you're trusting your gut on
totally.
who these people are, motivations. Your gut will tell you. And when you trust yourself, your gut gets a lot more talkative for sure. It becomes like hard. It's already wired to tell you, but we've also learned not to listen to it.
Yes. Especially if it's somebody's been in your family for quite a few years and they're hot and cold, or they're passive aggressive, but you really don't realize when it comes to money, or if you come from a family where somebody's already been screwed over financially.
Yeah.
Money is one of their gods.
And maybe not even family, but somebody influential that you
That's what
look
I'm
up
saying.
to. And
That's what I'm saying before, like somebody who's helping out or whatever, right?
yeah, you just don't know. Maybe their position, like your boss or somebody you look up to that's taking advantage of situations, or maybe not boss in that particular situation,
It
but
could be a lawyer, it could be a professional, it could be your housekeeper that's really trying to sit down and say, are you okay, and becoming your best friend because you're shut off from seeing other people. It could be anybody. But the
absolutely.
idea, when people start asking you really weird questions, especially if you're an executor, it's your job to be on the ball and realize, and it could be the other executor, it's your job to be on the ball and realize that something is going down. I spent 20 years in finance, so I understand this. You just don't expect somebody in your own family to be doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Unfortunately, that would be the first person you'd expect.
And I'm not wired that way, right? But I'm just giving people a heads up. It doesn't mean it's immediate family. It doesn't mean it's extended. Whoever's working that person, we just have to be aware of it, right?
Yep. And before we go, because we are coming up to
I'm good. This is a great
I
place
want to
to
actually
stop.
talk about things that people can do, like hard things that people, not hard, but solid things that you can actually do that will help you trust yourself more. And like we said, it's removing these programs. It's starting to clear out the emotions and identifying them. And you can, yes, there are people like Sandy and I and many others that actually can help clear emotions and programs and all kinds of stuff. If you don't feel like you can do it yourself, or that you even have the strength to do it to yourself at this time, then there are people like us. Feel free to reach out to either one of us. But then once you start clearing that, actually, while you're doing it, is that going within is so important, is starting to listen to your inner voice. Even if it's a 5-minute meditation, or, just closing yourself up away from all the other stimulus and checking in with you, just you, not everything else.
And I can't find it right now, but in my book, I wrote on one, I can't remember what chapter it was even, choose 3 people in your life. And you're going to choose the people who are closest to you, especially if you have a lot of chaos around you. Mm-hmm. And you say, you start looking at your relationship. Do they expect money from you? Do you expect them to give you money? Do they expect you to do things for them at the drop of a hat? Do you expect them to do it for you at the drop of the hat? And then you start looking at the relationships around you to see if they're healthy or dysfunctional. And you're already going to know which ones are dysfunctional, because if you start trusting yourself and they don't want you not to trust yourself, they're going to try to pull you back out. Sometimes you have to trust yourself to do the changes on your own. It just mum's the word, keep quiet about it and don't tell anybody you're doing it.
Yep.
So there's all kinds of different, look at outside distractions. When you start trusting yourself, one of the ways that I do it is I use L rods. I'll ask myself a question, and then when the answer comes up and I know it's right, I feel how it feels in my body.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I bring my trust right back to me. When it's right. I have a pendulum. I have various pendulums, right? One of my pendulum is clear crystal quartz. And this pendulum will lie to me. And I know it lies to me, and it knows I know it lies to me. And sometimes it'll give me the wrong answer. And I go, you telling me the truth? And it circles no. Will you tell me the truth? And then I'll decide if I work with it again, or I go and get another pendulum, and depending on what I do. So I'm okay that it's not telling me the truth, because that still helped me learn to trust myself, because I knew it wasn't true.
Right.
So it's kind of funny how those things
when you're working with those things, I just want to put out there that you really do need to put your protection, because you want to get your messages from your higher self. Yes. That's where it's coming from. But if you don't protect yourself and your energy, what comes through may not be your higher self and something nefarious.
People have to know how to ask for that, and you have to set your bar of who you will allow to speak to you from a different dimension, whether it's your higher self or what. And love and above, prime creator, and my highest good. Yeah. And if there's any beings that choose to be here, those are some of the bars that I put. I don't always put the same thing in every time. No. But if you're not here for love and above, because the darkness can't handle love. And that's what this war we're having right now, the good against evil, it's love against hate. And some people love to hate, and love just turns them right off. They can't handle love. That's what repulses them. They hate love because that'll force them to feel, and they don't want to feel. So we talked about oxytocin. Some people cannot relate to the oxytocin, the feel-good drug. So when you start to realize who you're around, right? That's what I'm finding.
100%. And I have
Yes.
my rods here. They're
So
great.
these are just
I love
divination
these things.
tools.
Yeah, and actually they're wonderful tools to actually start helping you connect to yourself.
Yes. But
And
that's part of trusting yourself, like learning how to connect to yourself and knowing, oh, my heart's fluttering today. What does that mean? One of my clients was telling me after we did some clearing, the next day her heart was fluttering and she put her hands here and just said, I love you, I love you, I love you.
yeah,
And just brought her palpitations down, right? Another one, know who supports you and uplifts you. We were talking a bit about that earlier, Karen. I had a friend come over last week and we spent about 5 hours together. And it was just, nope, this 5 hours is about you today. And there's other times that she'll come in and do things with me. So it's not, we're not keeping score or anything like that. It's just know who uplifts you, know who brings you down, know who wants something from you that you're not prepared to give, know who, is ready to crack open. It might just need a little more help getting them to open up. And remember, sometimes people are afraid of what's being broken apart. But if your goal is to make an omelet, you got to break some eggs.
100%. And I think this is something that you don't even notice the people who are draining you at first until you start to trust yourself. And after you've been with them,
you'll
start
know.
to assess how you feel.
Yes.
And go within and see, it's like, do I feel happy? Do I feel drained? Am I exhausted? Was this good for me? Is this person, helping to,
make my life happier and better?
Yeah. Is this an elevating relationship or is it dragging me down? And those are sometimes even the closest people are the ones who are going to be pulling you down, and you've got to make either new boundaries and I've actually had this many years ago. I had this friend who, when I started to realize that their energy was like, it was an energy vampire. And because I'm actually very soft-hearted and very giving of my time and my energy, and I just want people to feel good and be happy. And this person was never going to be happy. And anyways, they got mad at me for something. And I was like, you know what? No. First time actually in many years of a relationship, I just said, yeah, you know what? That behavior isn't going to work for me anymore. And so if you want to talk to me like that, then don't bother to call. Because I don't deserve it for these reasons. Because it was, and I was, it was like out of the blue, for nothing. It's like, what the hell is this? And it was just venom and gross. And I was like, yeah, no, we're done. I said, you can call me back when you're done with this and we can have a conversation, but I'm not picking up your crap anymore. No. It was a definite line in the sand. Guess what? I've never heard from this person since.
And usually you only have to set a boundary once to back them off. But if you have to set it time and time again, you not only have to get rid of that person, you have to get rid of who that person knows in your circle or distance them. You don't tell them everything because they're going to go to those people to find out what you're doing.
Yeah, no.
Ask me why I specialize in psychopaths. That's what I'm here to do this year. See the patterns and call it out, right?
Yeah, but
not this year, this lifetime.
When you start, this was like over a decade ago, probably, maybe more. But I've been on this path and this journey for a very long time. But it was like starting to tune into how that's what I was doing, tuning into how I feel with certain people. And I realized this is like a constant drain of all of my energy. And yes, I want to help them, but they don't want to help themselves. It's just, they just want to take. And that's when I went, Poop. And I think they felt the energy, lashed out and went, and then I had to put.
They know you're leaving.
I'm like, nope. You know what? No, this isn't going to work anymore this way. I am still open to a relationship, but we're going to have new boundaries.
And sometimes they know you're leaving, so they sting you so that they can say, oh, I'm tired of that person. So just let them go, right? And before they get home, make sure you've blocked them on all your devices so that they can't reach out another way to contact you.
Yeah. Well, no,
sometimes you have to make them final.
Yes.
Right. But everybody's worth it. Everybody is worth trusting themselves, loving themselves, knowing how to turn on our innate technology and bring in the best for themselves. And sometimes you're in your own way, and sometimes other people are in the way. So if we're feeling all this collective energy, if we're doing it, we might be feeling it from somebody else that that is maybe causing you some grief.
Yep. Right. And that's why it's important to go within after, and it doesn't have to be for long. I know, these people who think, you don't have to go and like sit in the dark corner for like 2 hours and meditate and be enlightened. It only takes a few minutes to check in with yourself. And that gets better. The more you do it, the better and quicker and easier you get to check in, and the longer you can stay in that space and actually get more knowledge, info, and even though you might have racing thoughts, those are really good indicators of where you are subconsciously. So
Yes.
don't try to shut everything down in a meditation. Sometimes it's there to shine a light on something that's not working for you.
Trust yourself that you're doing it right. And if you're
Yes,
not, ask yourself, am I doing this right? Your answers are in your questions. Am I doing this
absolutely.
properly? Is there a better way I can do this? So I went and bought some supplements, or not supplements, minerals, trace minerals. And then I went and bought another, I'd heard of another brand. So I went and bought that brand and I brought them back and I put them on my thymus and I muscle tested and I said, is this one good for me? And I got a yes. Put the second one up there. Is this one good for me? Yes. And I'm like, why did I spend $60 for this one and $7 for this one? So then I said, which one is better for me? And I got the second one. So I said, how much better is this than the other one? And I got 50% better. So you can keep asking the questions, but when you trust yourself, the trusting is for me is in the muscle testing.
Absolutely.
I'm good at it, right? And if I
Yeah.
get a wrong answer, I'm usually stumped, and then because something else has to come up, right? So Carol's added a comment about non-vaccinated menstrual
Yes, we've seen that a lot.
and menopausal women experiencing. So we know there's all kinds of stuff going on, and this is why you have to trust yourself. So we're not going to go into this topic too much because we don't want our video banned. But people have to understand it's the ones who are around the ones with the jab who are also being affected. So this stuff is nanotech. We don't know everything that's in there, right? But we know that things aren't what they turn out to be. The goal ultimately is to sterilize humanity and make us one with AI. That is the goal. And they're going to use every opportunity they can. So they're talking a lot about the transgendering, and they're getting women to cut their breasts off. Your breasts also connect to your third eye, which connects to your higher spiritual abilities. They're part of us. They protect our heart. They're beautiful. But this is what they're trying to do, is cut everything off spiritually. They don't want women loving themselves as women. They want women being men, men being women. So everybody's getting sterilized. So this is what the goal is, right? And we want to make sure that we're smart enough.
I'm actually going to bring this back. When you talk about that transgender thing, it is actually taking, again, away the trust of who you are. From the confusion that they do early on. They catch the kids early now.
They have to, because they're waking up. So they do it in the schools.
Right? They do it in schools to confuse them before puberty, before all of this stuff. So they don't know. And they're very impressionable at that. And it's taking away the trust of who I am. So now they're telling me maybe I'm not a girl. Maybe I'm not a boy. How up is that?
These teachers should be lined up with these elites that have been pulling off all this crap that are in Gitmo and taken care of. And I don't care if you're related to me or not. You're teaching somebody it's okay to cut your genitals off. You're a criminal, right? That's no doubt about it.
That's mutilation. Hello, that is mutilation.
It is mutilation, sexual abuse, sexual misery, right? And absorbing, dealing with the.
Yeah. And, just to wrap this up, it's all about your gut is going to tell you. Your heart, your gut is your guidepost. And
that's why they want you eating glyphosates. That's why they want you having leaky gut syndrome, because you process your emotions in your sacral chakra. So they want that part of your body not telling you the truth. So when you start trusting yourself, it might be that you change your diet to more vegetables and non-processed foods. Yep. Maybe you're taking probiotics, who knows, or whatever. You're talking to a nutritionist or a naturopath to figure out what you need to correct that.
That's key. And if you really, like I said, write things down, the good things about you, the nice things that people say about you. Forget about the negative. Okay, those people are not coming from a good place unless you really were an asshole.
So some people say nice things about you, but they're sarcastic. So
let's go with a genuine. You know when it's genuine, and
when it's genuine.
Yes. This is all about like building that confidence back up.
Who do you trust more, Betty, you or me?
You are. This is what I'm talking about. These are the tips and tricks that you can do to start building that confidence. Let's use the stepping stones, depending on how far down, like how evolved do you trust yourself? If you don't trust yourself, what can we do to get there? Go within, write down the things that you love, learn to love yourself, the different things, what's the good, right? Start releasing all the programs, the emotions, all the shit, most of it coming from other lifetimes.
It's coming from other people, other lifetimes, yes.
The people around you.
Generations before you.
Especially when you were young, because you're
impressionable.
Birth and 7, you're a sponge. You're just taking on crap from everybody.
So who do you trust more, Betty, you or me?
Me.
Totally.
I love
Not
you,
trust
Sandy,
me.
but no, I'm going to
I'm
make
saying
my own
that for
decision.
everybody's sake, right?
Yeah,
But just,
no,
you trust yourself. And even if you don't know a topic and somebody's in front of you teaching you something, you trust yourself that you will trust to know the right information if they're telling you the truth, or if there's something that maybe you're not quite aligned with. No,
yep,
maybe it's not a right or wrong. You're just not aligned to it, right? So
100%. A lot of
I
times
ask
it
this,
is
yeah.
just, it's not for you, maybe not at this time,
Yeah.
too. Maybe you're not ready for that message. You might go back to it and then it resonates later.
Yes, totally, right? So that's
Yeah,
all good. So
yeah,
trust yourself and know you're worth it. Know you are worth it. Self-worth is another one that's a hard one. We're not going to go into that today. But if you don't feel you're worthy, that's what you're going to attract to you. How do you trust yourself if you feel you're not worthy? And if you're being
100%.
a son of a bitch and you're trying to terrorize somebody and rip them down, go fuck yourself. That would be my message to you, because we're starting to see who the psychopaths are, not by who you are, but by your actions.
Yes.
So we're going to need to be saying more of that to the people who are hurting us and saying you have to get a stab and whatever too, right?
Or all of this other stuff. And this is, I was actually talking to my mom, and she was like, oh, when you come to the end times, it's this biblical again. Sorry, I'm going to have to bring something up that's spiritual. I think Jesus at one time did say that, the apostles asked why. I'm paraphrasing now. Why aren't we, is this going to happen now? Are we going to separate? When he talked about separating, it's the wheat from the chaff, and he says, you don't have to worry, because when the time comes, they're going to show themselves. So we're going to see,
showing themselves now.
and they're very much showing themselves now. There is a definite, there is no
There's a
gray.
bifurcation right now. There's a split. The middle ground is getting smaller and smaller, and we don't care what side you're on, but as we say, pick a lane.
Pick a
Or
lane.
as some other people say, choose a side, and it doesn't matter which one. But the point I'm trying to make is some people are starting to get desperate, so they're really starting to show they're going for the money because they're hiding behind the chaos.
Yeah. But there's no more fence. If you're on the fence, you're on the dark side, because if you're on the light side, you would have jumped
You already
in.
know, right? And even if you haven't jumped in and done major work yet, that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
And
so you may be in the shallow end of the pool on that side, but at least you're no longer
on that side
going which side. You've chosen a side, and that's key. But anyways, I think we should wrap it up.
I think so too. So thank you everyone for coming on and sharing your comments with us. We really appreciate that. And we're going to keep working on this and building up trust as an energy field around us, because the more we trust, the less people will try to mess with us. They'll know we trust ourselves. They're not getting past us, right?
Yep. And coming up will be, I think we talked about divine feminine.
Yes, we're going to talk about some of that.
We're going to talk about some of that probably next time. We'll see. You'll know in the announcement.
There you go.
Once we've decided which way we want to go after this.
Yes.
But everybody have a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much.
Enjoy the nice weather. It's getting warmer again.
Yay.
Depending where you are. Okay.